Since its establishment in 1903, Harley Davidson has become an iconic American motorcycle brand, synonymous with power, freedom, and the open road. Over the course of its illustrious history, Harley Davidson has witnessed triumphs, challenges, and significant transformations. In this episode, we dive into the comprehensive evolution of Harley Davidson, highlighting key milestones, technological advancements, cultural impacts, and the enduring legacy of the brand. What is up, everyone? We're back during a completely different day, recording a whole different episode. This isn't happening right after the last episode. That button keeps doing that. Good to know. We'll put that in note. Welcome back to Kickflips and Kickstands, everyone. I, of course, as always, am Danny. Joined with me, my co-host,
Grayson Connor.
Grayson Connor's here in the studio, everyone. And our guy in the chair, everyone's favorite Josh Britt.
Hi, guys. It's good to have me.
We're back, and this is our first historical episode of Season 3, where we're going to get into the history of Harley Davidson.
Who?
It's actually multiple people.
That's from Suicide Squad.
It's the guy who's
Yes.
that singer.
It's Margot Robbie.
Oh, you're thinking of Jared Leto.
I'm always thinking of Jared Leto.
Jared Leto in Fight Club or Jared Leto in Requiem for a Dream?
That's a good one. Like, you want to hit both of them. You want to hit all Jared Letos except for Dallas Buyers Club Jared Leto.
Sure.
Yeah. No, I want to hit him, too.
Okay, cool. Fuck it. Just
It's
punch
still
him.
Jared
It's
Leto.
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, he lived. So.
The only Jared Leto that I don't want to hit is 30 Seconds to Mars Jared Leto.
Yeah.
Oh,
If he would have just stuck with that.
My favorite punk band.
God damn it.
my favorite space travel band.
So yeah. Anyways, we're back. You guys, like we mentioned in the last episode, seem to like the historical ones, and methinks there's some Harley riders in our listeners. So I figured it only be fitting that we talk about the bike that brought a lot of people our way. That 2/3 of us ride. Grayson, I'd love to get you on a bike for some content.
Dude, I'd actually really like to.
Man, that would be good.
Yeah. Watch film my death.
Maybe we just like walk you around a bike and point at things and have you name what you think they are.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
just
I actually would
wild
love that.
Yeah.
I love that idea.
That'd be fucking hilarious.
You know why I love that?
Why?
Because I know every single part on a bike.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, we could do the same thing like with like guitars.
Yeah.
And me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you would know, though.
Yeah, neck.
You would. Yeah, that's
Fret.
right.
the neck. There's
Neck fret. The neck frets is a different thing.
Is it?
No, I'm just kidding.
Body? Chamber.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
You're nailing it. It sounds like you know.
really?
You're a seasoned veteran.
Oh, okay.
This is my
Well-
guitar deck, Danny.
Yeah.
And for bikes, the Curbatrator, the Bling Blam, all that stuff.
Curbatrator sounds like a fucking punk band name.
Yeah. It's a Larry David proprietary motorcycle part.
Oh, no, I thought you were going to say a Larry David punk band.
Yeah, Larry David's D-Beat band.
Curbatrator your enthusiasm. So, okay, maybe let's get into it. The story of Harley Davidson begins in a small shed in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. William S. Harley, in the name, and Arthur Davidson, the other one, told you, multiple people, along with their brothers Walter and William A. Davidson. And now, the writer, me, wrote there, but it's really just not William, Arthur Davidson's brother, not their brothers. So it was one Harley and 3 Davidsons.
Seems a little off kilter.
Yeah, they embarked on a journey to build motorcycles that would revolutionize transportation. In 1903, they produced their first motorcycle, a single-cylinder machine. This milestone marked the birth of the legendary brand, which quickly gained recognition for its reliability and innovative design. To go back on the shed, we're talking about a shed that's like, it's 15 by 10 or 10 by 20?
Yeah,
It's
something
one
like
of
that.
those, it's about the size of the room that we're in, no bigger.
I was
This
gonna
isn't
say a
technically-
one-car garage, but like there wasn't really
There weren't really cars. Yeah, it was just like it was a literal shed in their backyard. That still is the shed still there in the?
It's not. I feel like didn't they like disassemble and reassemble it?
They like
in the
moved
museum?
it, right?
Yeah,
yeah. It's in the museum, which the museum's where the brand is from. Like it's still in Milwaukee.
Yeah, absolutely. I
but-
mean, HQ, their offices, everything's still Milwaukee.
Yeah, and I mean, if you don't know, or if you do, I mean, it'd be a disservice to not mention it. When we're talking about the single-cylinder bike, it says motorcycle, but we're talking about, at this time, you got to remember, it's 1903. They started developing this thing in like 1901, which technically, I probably started developing it earlier than that, like late, like 1800s. Like,
Yeah.
It was a 116cc single-cylinder motor. So to either like someone like Grayson or someone that isn't too knowledgeable, that's about like a Honda Ruckus. Like most scooters are anywhere from 50cc to 150cc.
Okay.
Scooters now.
Yeah.
So in 1903, these motherfuckers start strapping a 116cc motor to like basically a bicycle.
Yeah.
Like we say motorcycles because it was a motorcycle, but this is like when you're like in the fucking hood these days and see a fucking motor kit strapped to a fucking beach cruiser. That's essentially what they were doing with like no brakes on dirt roads and shit. Like it was,
That's cool.
it was a wild time. It was a lawless fucking time because they were just like, they just were, it wasn't the first motorcycles, you know? It wasn't quite it was right there at the beginning of it. But just to put that together in your head and think of like, we did it. Now we're just going to ride down this fucking dirt road with no brakes and like no. But again, there's not really cars, or there's some, but it's not as crazy as it is now with cars all over the road. But it's kind of insane when you think of it. When you look at like the early, like there weren't Model A's. What were the fucking first? This is just like Model 1, I think it's called, right?
Yeah.
Like Harley Model 1. It's like,
Think about how much more likely you were to hit a cow than a car.
oh yeah.
On the early motorcycles. Like that's tenfold. You're more likely to hit livestock or a fence.
The early years of Harley Davidson were marked by experimentation and refinement. They expanded their lineup with more powerful engines and improved features. By 1909, they unveiled their first V-twin engine, a design that would become synonymous with Harley Davidson motorcycles. This powerful engine set new standards for performance and durability, solidifying the company's reputation as a leader in the industry. So again, 1903 is their first bike, single cylinder 116cc. Literally fucking 6 years later, and again, this is mostly Harley. William Harley was an engineer by trade, so he was the one that like was designing the engines. 6 years later, they come out with the V-twin, which, as stated, that's where you get your like it's a V-shaped like. It's pretty much what all Harleys are known for. Yeah. Like the reason why the V-Rod was one of the reasons why the V-Rod was hated was because it just you lose kind of your brand recognition when you start fucking slapping shit all over that motor and covering it up.
I see.
They changed the geometry on it too, right? Was it a 90-degree V-twin on the V-rods, or was it still a 45?
No, I think it was a kind of different. It wasn't. I don't remember if it was a 90 or a 45. I just know that it was like a Porsche designed engine.
I mean,
it's a great engine.
Amazingly designed motorcycle that I would never want to be seen on.
No, it definitely looks like Oakley glasses and Affliction shirts. Like
that's my stuff.
Yeah. Harley Davidson introduced several groundbreaking innovations that propelled the company forward. Their commitment to technological advancements and pushing the boundaries of motorcycle engineering was evident. One significant innovation was the introduction of electric start in 1914. This revolutionary feature eliminated the need for strenuous kickstarting and made motorcycles more accessible and user-friendly. So, again, like this timeline's kind of nutty when you're thinking of like 1903, slap on like single cylinders on the bicycles. 6 years later, that's when it's like, it's no longer a bicycle. It's like much bigger, proprietary like V-twin engine, and all of the accoutrements surrounding it are built specifically for it. This is when you're starting to, when motorcycles actually start to take shape and look more like motorcycles and less like bicycles.
So I would assume the early ones were pedal start, right?
Yeah.
You just have to kind of bump start it every time you're.
They had center, not technically not center stands. It's like it's a rear stand.
Yeah.
Like a fold down kickstand that picks the whole back of the bike up.
Yeah.
And then there's like a whole song and dance where you got to pump some gas, you got to pump some oil. and then you just start fucking like you
Spit
hold a
on
lever
it,
in,
twist a knob.
yeah, and then you start pedaling until the engine's turning enough that you can fire some spark through the gas,
Yeah.
and then you just kind of pop off that rear stand and you're on your way.
Jesus.
Yeah,
So you said electric start is what came around that time?
1914.
Which is crazy
That's-
to think
yeah.
about something happening that early.
Yeah. And maybe this is just because I don't know, but like I feel like I see y'all kickstarting
Oh yeah,
often. So is electric start not preferred, or is that
there's a consensus that kickstart only bikes are super cool.
Yeah.
it's just a coolness thing?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really cool until
You have to fight the beast.
exactly. It's really cool until you're kicking like 30 times on the side of the road and you're just fucking like beating sweat.
There's a margin of coolness into looking
Yeah,
like
yeah,
a
yeah.
dumbass.
I think in the and listeners chime in fucking on the Instagram. I would say that window's between the 20th and 30th kick.
Yeah, where
somewhere
it's just like,
When it's
okay.
somewhere
Huffing,
in
puffing.
there where you're just like, all right, well,
Yeah. And if you're crying while you do it, it probably doesn't look as cool.
yeah, no. Yeah, are you sweating or crying? It's like, just fucking get over it, dude.
Shut
What's the
up, build your
difference?
own bike. Ugh.
But yeah, it's actually insane to think of. Like 1914 is when they're like, now we got electric starting our
Yeah.
shit.
And then they go into their house that probably didn't have electricity.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna pull this into my shack
yeah.
and sleep on the cot next to
Light
it.
a nice lantern.
Another milestone came in 1928 with the introduction of the teardrop fuel tank design, which became an iconic symbol of Harley Davidson motorcycles. This sleek and distinctive tank shape not only enhanced aesthetics but also improved rider comfort and handling. Furthermore, Harley Davidson's involvement in World War I as a major supplier of motorcycles to the military helped solidify its position as an American icon. The military relied on Harley Davidson motorcycles for their reliability and durability, which further enhanced the brand's reputation. In fact, this would mark the second time Harleys were used in a military-style conflict in the same decade, as Harley Davidsons were also used to chase the Mexican revolutionary Pancho Villa at the request of General John J. Blackjack Pershing. What a fucking name.
Dude.
Like your nickname's Blackjack, but your regular name is just John J. Pershing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. That's fucking rad. With machine guns mounted to sidecars, the Harleys were credited as being exceptionally adaptable and capable in the rough terrains of the Chihuahuan Desert. That's fucking insane. So that's like right before World War One. It's like, I think that happened timeline-wise a year or two before. World War One obviously happened before. Like Harley supplied them a couple years into World War One, but not very long. But it probably still would have happened. But that whole military expedition chasing down Pancho Villa and that whole situation was like, this dude was like, yo, we were just in the desert
Yeah.
fucking ripping around on these
Yeah,
things.
just ripping through peyote.
Homie in the sidecar with the fucking machine gun just shooting whatever the
I know.
fuck.
Imagine seeing your first motorcycle and it's shooting at you.
yeah. They're like, what the fuck is that? Oh, and red.
What's that weird horse he's on?
That's the thing. Like, you can shoot all the cattle and fences you need to. You don't have to hit him with the bike anymore.
Yeah. In a way, it's a tank. Tank logic right
Well, and that was the thing. Like when you mentioned horses, like they were chasing them, and they were like so used to being on horseback. And this dude's like, we need something else. And then Harley's like, we got this thing. It's most would call it an iron horse.
And they went, oh, sick.
They're like, okay. And they're like, how can you make it better? And it's like, well, you could put a sidecar on it. And they're like, well, that's fucking rad. And then someone was like, what if we put a gun on the sidecar? And
They're
someone
like,
was
keep it coming. Keep it coming.
yeah.
This is working.
Yeah.
Then they were like, do you want electric start? And they were like, no, that's probably not going to look that cool, man.
Nah, we'll just kick it in the desert.
What am I, a little boy?
It's going to look way better on Instagram if we kick it.
They're like, I don't know what you're saying, but I'm loving it.
Yeah. But, I mean, I got to imagine that that was also, like, we'll get into this a little bit in the episode too, but, like, obviously it's a struggle and it's, like, a terrible time. But back to the Pancho Villa thing first, where they're just, like, the day that the bike showed up and they're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
We get to fucking rip these things around now?
They're like, war is sick.
Yeah. It's like, go back home to my wife or fucking rip around on fucking machine gun mounted sidecar bikes. Like, I don't know, sending fucking, it's like a Dear John letter, but like, we didn't find them, so we're just going to kick it in the desert for a little longer. It's going to be a couple more weeks. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy. Harley motorcycles became more than just a mode of transportation. They represented a symbol of rebellion, adventure, and the free spirit of the open road. Motorcycle clubs and the rise of the outlaw Motorcycle clubs and the rise of the outlaw biker subculture, depicted in movies like The Wild One, ever heard of it, further contributed to Harley Davidson's cultural impact. The brand became an emblem of freedom and nonconformity, captivating the imaginations of riders across the nation. However, the Great Depression in the 1930s posed significant challenges for the company. Like many others during that time, Harley Davidson had to navigate through financial hardships and adapt to the changing economic landscape. Despite these obstacles, the company managed to survive by focusing on quality and developing motorcycles that met the needs of its customers. Which that's another crazy thing. It's just like to think. There's actually a really good mini series
Yeah, I
on
think
this with the old boy Jay Barenthal,
Yeah.
John Barenthal.
Yeah.
It's called, I think it's called Harley and the Davidsons. It's like a 3-part miniseries. If you haven't seen it, or any of our listeners, or now watchers, because we're video on the internet as well, it's pretty good. I think it's a 3-parter.
Yeah, it's something like that.
Yeah,
three or 4 or 5.
Yeah, it goes through kind of the same shit we're talking about in this episode, but paints the picture a little more fun.
Yeah.
They embellish some of it, but it's just insane to think that like they had already been producing motorcycles for 20 something odd years at this point, and then like the literal Great Depression happens, and they're just trying to navigate that. Like we think of shit like COVID and how companies survive through COVID.
Yeah.
But I mean, they also survived Spanish flu and
Yeah.
like all sorts of other stuff
They had a super
where they
pandemic.
were, a world war,
Yeah,
then a world
several
war.
world wars.
Yeah.
Almost 3.
All both
There's
of
going to
them.
be
and then-
live wires in World War III. they're on electric bikes with fucking side-mounted machine guns now.
Just segues. What's a 50 cal on it?
Dude, sign me up.
I'll do that.
However, the Great Depression in the 1930s posed significant challenges for the company. Oh, no, I already read that. Harley Davidson experienced a resurgence buoyed by returning veterans who sought the thrill of motorcycle riding. The 1940s and 1950s marked a golden age for the brand. Harley Davidson introduced iconic models like the Sportster in 1957. Ever heard of it? A lightweight motorcycle that combined power, speed, and maneuverability. This model became incredibly popular and set the stage for future successes. So that's when we start to get into, so the 1940s, we're talking, now we're getting more into like World War II. So World War II happens, and again, all of our dudes are sent over there, and they're like, hey, this is going to fucking suck, but you got Harleys.
Yeah.
And there's Indians,
Here's a knucklehead.
there's
Here's
other brands.
Here's a big twin flathead, a UL.
And from the company side, obviously supplying for World War One, they had an in for World War Two. But that's another, like, you talk about like surviving through like Great Depressions and like hardships, where it's like at that time, all these factories that were producing toys and recreational vehicles, it's like, we're going to war, so you either produce for the war or just shut down and you're never coming back. So it's like one of those things where it's that double-edged sword, that catch-22, where it's like you don't want to go to war, and a lot of people are going to not be able to work. But I think Harley supplied something like 80,000 motorcycles for World War II.
Yeah.
So like you're facing the decision of like shuttering down forever, or, everyone in your factory gets to fucking take that check home every week. So then you got they're not veterans at the time. They're active duty soldiers fucking ripping around on all these bikes. Mm-hmm. And they come back. And at the time, PTSD always fucking existed. Just back then we called it shell shock.
Yeah.
So they're coming back, and basically society's like, well, fucking listen, I know shit sucked, but there's a lot of jobs now.
Yeah.
They're all office jobs, and you can buy a house for super cheap and start a family. Mm-hmm. So basically we're training these people to become killing machines. They were doing that and then coming back, and they're like, why don't you sit in a cubicle and fucking
It's nice and quiet.
just go crazy for a couple weeks. So they started to buy up. There was all these cheap bikes, these army surplus bikes. They start buying all these bikes, and this is where you get into like the birth of basically chopper culture. They start chopping up all these pieces that they don't need, and modifying their bikes and fucking hot rodding them around town to fucking cause a ruckus because their brains all rattled from fucking literally fighting a war for us.
Sure.
So that's pretty much the birth of like the chopper subculture. It came from veterans, which if you really want to get into it, there's like a whole thing with like hippies and biker veterans, and when you get into the 60s and because like drugs, like hippies really love drugs and bikers really love drugs. But then right around, this is kind of ping-ponging around history, but then the Vietnam War happens and like all these college hippies start protesting the war, and all these bikers that were hanging out with them doing drugs were like, wait a fucking second, like this is my shit. Like,
we're the war guys.
Yeah.
You don't get to talk about war.
yeah,
We're
like,
the war dudes.
you were really cool until you fucking turned your back on me, pretty much.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's the fucking choppers that we ride, that these fucking dudes are kicking 30 times on the side of the road. Like, none of that shit would exist hadn't it been for World War II. So, I mean, who's to say it might have still kind of taken off, just maybe been later or not at all. Yeah. But I mean, for sure, if Harley didn't provide those 80,000 bikes, if they shuttered the doors, then we probably wouldn't have choppers today. Like, it could be a world without that whole subculture, and we wouldn't have a podcast.
Yeah, it would just be kickflips.
Yeah,
I can talk about kickflips.
Sure.
The 1960s witnessed another significant milestone for Harley Davidson with the introduction of the Electric Glide, a touring motorcycle that provided increased comfort for long-distance rides. This model revolutionized the touring segment and cemented Harley Davidson's dominance in the market. The 1990s saw a launch of the legendary Fat Boy, which became an instant classic with its muscular appearances. Also, we call Grayson the legendary Fat Boy as well.
I'm getting used to it.
With its muscular appearances, chrome accents, and powerful performance, the Fat Boy captured the imagination of riders and solidified Harley Davidson's position as a cultural icon.
And it was in Terminator 2.
Yeah, that was a Terminator 2 bike, huh?
Yeah.
Dang.
Was it Fat Boy or Bad Boy?
Maybe a Fat Boy?
Because it had like the disc wheels.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I'll watch Terminator 2 tonight. Never need a reason to watch
You're
Terminator
welcome.
2.
Yeah.
And I'll report back. We should do that as an episode too, like fucking top 10 screen used
That
bikes.
conversation today.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who had that conversation
Me and
today?
him.
I did. Yeah.
Oh, tight. Dang. I wasn't even there.
No, you don't work there.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. I did for
You
a
used
brief
to,
stint. Yeah.
That was great.
Oh, that was you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. I knew I saw you somewhere.
Yeah. The company's commitment to quality, timeless design, and its loyal customer base fueled its expansion into international markets. Making a global phenomenon, today, Harley-Davidson motorcycles can be found on roads across the world, a testament to the brand's enduring appeal. And around that time, let's see. The latter half of the 20th century witnessed both successes and challenges for Harley-Davidson. Financial struggles in the 1980s threatened the company's survival, but a renewed focus on core values and customer loyalty enabled a remarkable turnaround. Harley-Davidson implemented strategic initiatives to streamline operations, improve product quality, and enhance customer satisfaction. This is when we start talking about, like, they started like the Hog chapters, like the Harley Owners Group. They started doing things like, basically like, they saw that all these motorcycle clubs, when we're talking like back like 40s, 50s, 60s, and like when choppers started to pop off, and all these, like, they're seeing all these guys come back and start these motorcycle clubs, and they're like, wait a minute, they're buying our bikes and riding around together in groups. So they come up with the Hog, the Harley Owners Group, HOG, which is basically a brand fueled club that you buy into.
You see what they did there?
Yeah. Which the name, the Hog name, this is like not 100% confirmed historically, but if you backtrack into the 20s, when you talk about like in the 20s, I didn't really touch base, so we can kind of go back and do that a little bit here. Right before that first, what was it, between World War I and the Great Depression? Again, soldiers come back, and they're like, these fucking bikes are sick, dude. Like, we were riding them all around, fucking jumping over trenches with like a ton of fucking dead bodies in them. But like, it was pretty rad. We should do something with them. So they start racing, and listener, if you haven't yet, you can go back and listen to, after this episode, of course, We have the Murder Drum episode, the history of board track racing. This is around this time where they're like, well, what if we just fucking start racing these things, because we got to do something with them. And that's when you start to get into like the wrecking crew. So Harley had a brand. So the board track, super fucking dangerous. I mean, we're talking bank turns of like 50-degree banks on 2x4 tracks. Like the 2x4s were on their sides, because that's how, at the time, how they can fucking bend wood to create these ovals.
Still no brakes.
Yeah, no brakes. People dying. I mean,
Riding on these weird thin rubber tires.
yeah, and the banks are so excessive that they have to hit them at like, I think it's something like between 60 and 90 miles an hour. You got to hit that bank to just, for the fucking,
Stay on it.
Just
for
to
the
make
science
it,
to work it out that you stay on the track. Yeah. So super dangerous. The brand pulls out of that. They're like, dude, people are fucking, they were dying on our bikes when they were at war, and then they come back and they're dying on our bikes not at war. Like, this is a bad look. Like, we're not going to sell the bikes if they just keep killing people. So then that's when you switch. That's when they switch to flat track racing. That's when flat track racing starts to pop off. And Ray Weischer is credited with, he had a pet pig that after winning a race, he did a victory lap and went into the winner's circle with the pig on his tank in his lap. And that's when the hog kind of moniker started to kind of drip into the ethos of Harley. So that's where you get that. So then cut to in the 80s.
They made a lot of police bikes.
Made a lot of police bikes, which also, yeah, that's a good little hog right there.
Oh, look at that.
See what I did there?
It's all connected.
Yeah.
They also, in the 70s, 80s, with all these like fucking financial tribulations, they sold the company to the American, it's AMF. AMF, which you would know as a bowling company, AMF Lanes.
Yeah.
They sold the brand to AMF because, again, they were like, fuck, I don't think we've weathered 2 wars and a depression, but like shit's rough, dude.
1970?
Yeah.
1969,
Somewhere
70
around
is
there.
when they sold to AMF.
They sell the AMF, and AMF is really good at building a lot of machinery because this is what they were doing. But what ended up happening is that whole, Harley quality, reliability, dependability, that just starts to fucking go out the window because AMF is just pumping these things out because, I mean, they're fucking Big Daddy Warbucks at this point. Like, they can do what they want with the brand, but what they were doing was kind of tarnishing the brand because you're known for one thing. Reliability is like one of your things. Like, they're like, it's a efficient, moderately efficient, but reliable and easy to work on motorcycle. And what AMF is doing is they're not innovating, like they're not changing the bikes up. It's no different. So it's not like in cars and like, well, anything new, when you introduce something new, there's going to be some bugs that you have to work out.
Sure.
And that's not to say that it's excusable, but it's expected. It's like, oh, it's fucking electric cars and bikes are out now, and sometimes the batteries explode and fucking go into a fucking lithium flame ball. Like, but it's expected.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
You witnessed this. I've seen you after you witnessed this.
Yeah. AMF got really, really nutty with the licensing as well with Harley Davidson, and they started making. There were golf carts. They licensed the Harleys out to Aeromacchi, the Italian bike brand.
Yeah, those were sick though.
Dude, those things were so cool.
This is like, these are like small. We're not talking like big fucking
Little
hogs.
125cc
Little
Italian
Italiano. Like,
Hey.
I like it to go fast on the little bike.
I like that.
Yeah.
The topper was way before that, right? That was the 50s. The topper came out, the little...
Like,
almost
these are
Vespa
bikes
style.
now that same size as that fucking first bike that they made. We're talking like 115cc
went back.
bikes, little fucking buzzers.
Yeah, but they were putting the Harley brand on anything and everything that they could, and absolutely kind of gutting. It's like when a skateboard company gets really big and a holdings company ends up buying it and passing it around, and then it gets sold back to another team rider, and then back to a different holdings company, and then gets swallowed up by another distribution company.
And eventually you end up under VF's banner.
Exactly. And then, it all roads lead to VF.
Is that iconic Harley shield logo a thing at that point?
Yeah, the bar and shield. I think that popped up. Shit.
50s, 60s?
Yeah.
Somewhere in
If I
there.
was a better writer, I would have put it in this
No, I
episode.
mean, I put you on the spot.
But no, it's fine. Yeah, that's coming around in like 50s, 60s, the bar and shield logo. I'm trying to think if we want to backtrack real quick. I didn't mention it when in 1909 when they came out with that vtwin. That's when you start to get your iconic Harley sound. So Harleys are known for that whole potato, potato, potato. Like it's just a thing.
Yeah.
That comes from the engine design and how they timed and engineered the engine to run that way. So like it wasn't a design flaw. They never meant to like make a Harley sound like that. It was just something that they had to do in the engineering of the engine of the actual engine, the power plant for it, which then by happenstance gives you that sound that Harleys are known for.
Yeah.
And since then, like it's another one of those things like when we're talking about like there's a butterfly effect where like if they hadn't have done that and designed the motor differently, Harleys would have never sounded like that. But they did, and people loved it.
Yeah.
So now that's like you can hear a Harley, you know what I mean? Like coming down the road or just idling at a light, where it's like a lot of bikes have their own distinctive style, but like the only other bike that I can think of as far as distinctive style is like Ducati's transmission.
Yeah.
Ducati has like a dry clutch, so it's known as like the basket of bolts. Like you hear a Ducati idling next to you in traffic, and it sounds like it's broken in a different way.
Clicks and rattles.
A Harley
yeah.
sounds like it's broken because you're like, is that bike gonna die? It's like idling, like it's like starving for fucking.
Yeah.
And a Ducati's like, you have fucking loose parts inside of your engine. It's like, no, it's just my clutch.
Or if he rode it more than 3,000 miles, you have loose parts inside your engine because it's a Ducati.
Yep.
No
Burn on
shade
Ducati.
to Ducati.
No, Ducatis are tight.
They're wonderful. There's just so much that goes into tuning and adjustment, and
They're fast, huh?
but that's
Isn't
a
that their
story
thing?
for another time.
They are, but the iconic. Oh, I mean, if we want to side shoot into another brand right now, that one Ducati that everyone knows, it was the one in the Matrix. So everyone pause, think about the Matrix, the one
What's
that
the
Carrie
Matrix?
Fisher. We're in it. The
Okay.
black one that Carrie Fisher rides with the little slit eyes for headlights.
Yeah.
That one at the time wasn't the fastest bike. Like there were like Hondas and Suzuki's faster than it. It was just the most balanced and could do everything better.
Which you could argue would kind of make you faster if it can handle better.
Right, yeah. If you're faster in the corners, you're faster all the way around the track for sure. What's up, y'all? I wanted to talk to you about burnouts in Denton, Texas at Dan's Silverleaf. It's all going down September 21st, 2024. That's this September 21st. So get your bike show and shine ready. Right now, I bet you're driving around, you're asking me, Danny, what the hell's burnouts? It's a shopper show. Dingus, I know you like those. There's going to be live music. There's going to be vendors there. You need some parts. Somebody's probably got that. You need a black t-shirt with a little logo on the front and a big design on the back. I'm pretty sure everyone will have one of those to sell you. Shit, we even do too. Choppers, music, shopping, beer. I don't know what else to tell you. Pack your shit and get on down to Burnouts this September 21st at Dan's Silverleaf in Denton, Texas. Check them out on IG, y'all. In recent years, Harley Davidson has embraced innovation with the launch of the Livewire, an electric motorcycle that represents a new chapter in the company's history. This move showcases Harley Davidson's commitment to sustainability and adaptation to changing market demands. The Livewire combines cutting-edge technology with the signature Harley Davidson experience, opening doors to new audiences and paving the way for a more environmentally conscious future. I know Livewire has branched off into its own thing. I know Harley still has like a stake in it. I think they have it's like 20% or something holding on that company.
Okay.
But Livewire is its own brand now. But they developed that bike. So the Livewire EV, it's an electric bike that was produced by Harley. And as a listener, Grayson, you've all seen this bike already. It was in a couple like Marvel movies, like Avengers and shit like that. There was a huge push when they kind of were first releasing it. It wasn't available to market yet, but they were just doing all the promo for it. But that again, Chris Corona, he's worked a lot with Livewire.
Yeah, doing the live wire promo stuff. He's working on those projects.
Shout out to fucking Chris Corona. That's one of my favorite people.
Oh, he's wonderful. He's
Such a good dude.
fantastic. What are your thoughts on the live wires?
I haven't ridden one.
Yeah.
So as far as like seat time thoughts, I have none. My thoughts on the live wires are probably my same thoughts on like all EVs. Do I think that electric vehicles are the complete future? Not quite. Because then that's why we can get into the whole like, then you got to mine for the resources. And then like they're not, once they're bad, they're like, you don't really recycle fucking burnt up lithium. You just
whip it into the ocean.
Yeah, you just put it back into the ground in a more toxic state. Like, so, I mean, there's that. As far as the science behind electric vehicles and especially electric bikes, I love the thought of it. I hate the thought of not having a transmission to shift, but the idea of having the full vehicle's power instantly whenever you want, like there's no, with electric vehicles, there's no power curve. It's just like, if you want to stop, which there is with programming and software, like you can't just stomp on the pedal of a Tesla and that shit's going to fucking give you all of its power to the wheels instantly. If you fucking, I don't know, remap that bitch, like you probably could hot rod it that way, but it's the same thing with bikes. Like I haven't ridden one. So, but I can't imagine that like if you crack that throttle, just all of that bike's power is like, there's ABS, there's like a shit ton of sensors on them.
Yeah.
So that you don't fucking whiskey throttle that thing into the moon.
Just throw it 2 blocks down the street in front of you while you're standing there.
Like, I don't know. These EVs have a lot of torque and power, I guess.
Yeah.
But I think it's rad. I think that, I don't know, again, whoever did the like separating, like I think it maybe is a good move for both companies to have it be like, it's very known that Harley like did the R&D on that thing, but now it can live as its own brand. It can live or die as its own brand.
Sure.
And maybe not tarnish the bar and shield so much.
Well, as a Harley purist, I think those things are tight.
Yeah, I mean,
and I want one. Have you seen the new one, the S2 Del Mar?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sick. The one, man, because to have one of those to just rip around town and be able to plug into your house when you get home.
Which, again, Livewire, Chris Corona. I know at least Chris is listening to this if you're a good friend. Don't hook it up with like a free bike, but like we'd love to have you, Chris, on the show. We'd love to have one of those bikes on the show.
Yeah.
Fucking shoot some little viddy content. Maybe some verticals for the kids. They love the vertical shit now.
Yeah.
You can't look at, I'm just waiting for that move where people are like, I've seen it pop up now where like there's that little like, instead of like the timing ticker, it's like the please turn your screen.
Yeah.
It's like, man, I would love if that caught on because I fucking hate watching things vertically.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a lot of work to just do this with your phone.
Yeah.
And you get to see so much more. Like,
I saw someone cut Lord of the Rings to vertical.
Oh God. But did they fill?
Yeah, no, they made it work, but it was still disconcerting.
Sure. Yeah. Well, like the Battle of Mordor is happening, and you're just like, what is happening right now?
You see one orc's back.
I did not see Legolas surf down the stairs. That was off screen. You fucking. But yeah, so they started like kind of innovating with the live wire, but the other big thing that they've done, which at first it seemed like it was too little, too late. But they started to develop some new bikes because for the longest time, again, Harley from other kind of bike purists were kind of known as a one-trick pony. Like they have different models, but it's all a vtwin bike with like, either some were like single hidden, like the soft tails. They looked like hardtails when they were developing those, but it had a single shock hidden in the frame to give you that comfort. But I mean, a Sportster, a Dyna, a fucking Fat Boy, a Softail, it's all the same bike. And now at this point, I've lost half of our audience and a lot of fucking purists. But if you really break it down, it's fucking 2 wheels and a V-twin. And some handlebars and a gas tank.
From 1936 to 1999, big twin Evo engines changed marginally.
Right.
But it was all still based on the same thing outside of having to use a little tiny spacer for knuckleheads and UL flatheads. Basically everything is relatively interchangeable.
Right.
For 60 years before they bounced over to the Milwaukee 8. It's got a different mount system and
sure.
Obviously the 8 valve.
But even fucking shout out to Eric, the fucking mad wizard at F&A Customs over in Florida, he just fucking, you see he slapped on some M8 heads on a shovel?
No.
That
crazy.
was his Born Free build.
Oh, no kidding.
He fucking took, I think it was a dual mag fired M8 headed shovel build, because that dude's just a fucking maniac in builds. That's like some of my favorite Harley builds because of, I don't know, the way that his brain works over there. It must be a Florida man thing.
Yeah.
But he's just got the sickest shit because it's like, again, he's working with the same shit that people are doing, but he's just doing it in a different way that, like, you just have to fucking pay him some props and the shit that he's cooking up. I'll have to show you that
Yeah,
thing.
for
That thing's
sure.
fucking
No,
wild.
I the only bike I remember from Born Free, I've watched videos and looked through pictures and everything, but Gak's knucklehead and a Sportster frame. Every time
That thing
I
was
see that
sick.
bike, it's, man, I'm so stuck.
The
on that thing.
Nuxter, I think they called it.
Yeah.
But what I was getting at there is that aside from the live wire, and again, some people were like, you finally built a different bike, but it might be too late. So Harley puts out, I know they like teased them first. So they've got a new platform now. So technically, the Sportster was their longest running same bike.
Yeah.
Like, aside from rubber mounting the engine and switching from carburation to fuel injection, the Sportster stayed relatively the same from when they introduced it in, what do we say, 1957?
57, yeah.
From 57 until 2022.
I mean, if you want to roll the K models in there, 50, what was that, 51? They
Sure.
started doing the Ks.
So, like, from this bike's inception to fucking
Now.
a year or so ago,
Yeah.
it was relatively unchanged. Like, obviously, it got better, but, like, you know, they cast it out of better materials, and, like, you know, some had fucking more sensors on them. But, like, as far as, like, motor, wheels, handlebar, where the gas comes from, fucking the look of it, relatively the same. So Harley finally designs the... they haven't released the Bronx. I think they shelved that one.
Yeah.
But the Sportster's new. And then they released the Pan America, which is like, that's the fucking bike I want.
Oh, that's, no,
Dude.
that thing's cool. 'Cause it's all on the new 1250 platform.
Yeah. So they
Where's
have another new engine platform, and it's just it's a new bike. It's an adventure bike. So you've seen like those big BMW fucking off-road / touring bikes. So Harley releases the Pan America, which is that. And I mean, I got to be honest, myself included, when they started teasing it, I was like, there's no fucking way this thing's gonna, like, I'm glad you're trying something new, but to release a bike that's in a market that's fucking so dominated by BMW, KTM,
Africa.
the
Twin,
Honda Africa Twin.
Yeah.
There's so many already established bikes that, like, fucking Harley was, you know, they were shooting for the moon on that one, and it fucking stuck. It's an amazing bike.
Yeah.
People love it. It's the one thing that, like, I think I don't know if everyone they're gonna have to if they aren't already, and excuse my fucking ignorance on this, but the Pan Americas came with like adaptive suspension. So like, we're all, I mean, me and Josh are kind of the same height. Like, we're somewhat different heights, but like that big ass bike's suspension will adapt to your height so that it gives you a more comfortable riding experience. And that's just something like on those big 1250 adventure bikes, like myself as a fucking #short king, that's just something that, like, I would love a BMW fucking 1250 fucking Perry Dakar fucking ripping through the sand dunes. But the second I get to a stoplight, I gotta hit the like 45 degree bike
You
lean.
tip, and then you lean back up and just
Yeah.
bend it. Yeah.
And I'm not fucking Mallory, I'll tell you that. Like,
Yeah.
I can't be a short person riding giant bikes. Like,
She's my hero.
she's fucking insane. But so yeah, they released the Pan America and it fucking sticks. It's a great bike. People love it. It's been running for like 3 years now. That since they released it, or maybe tail end of 2020 because the whole fucking pandemic. But pretty much 3 production years, and it's working for them. And I mean, proved me wrong and proved a lot of people wrong. A lot of people were like, "There's no way, like, you're gonna have to either undercut BMW or it's gonna have to be an amazing bike." As far as like undercut and price wise, which they didn't, obviously, but came out and it's a great bike. And if anyone wants to fucking let us ride one of those and review it, feel free. So as Harley moves forward, it continues to face challenges and sees opportunities an ever evolving industry. I'm just going to redo it. As Harley Davidson moves forward, it continues to face challenges and seize opportunities in an ever evolving industry. By staying true to its heritage while embracing innovation, the company strives to maintain its status as a global leader in the motorcycle industry. The roaring thunder of a Harley Davidson motorcycle will forever resonate as a symbol of freedom and adventure on the open road. From humble beginnings to a global powerhouse, the company's commitment to quality, innovation, and its passionate community of riders has solidified its place in history. As it navigates the challenges and opportunities of the 21st century, Harley Davidson continues to evolve while staying true to its core values. The iconic brand's ability to adapt, pioneer new technologies, and captivate and capture the spirit of motorcycle enthusiasts ensures its place as an enduring symbol of power, freedom, and adventure. And that's our little fucking ride through history. A little hog ride through history.
There you
What
go.
company was
Davidson.
this again?
This is Harley Davidson Wine Cooler Company.
Oh, okay.
Actually, Scooter Juice Inc. So that wasn't. Maybe it was the AMF. That was like 75 when the wine cooler. That's a real product, by the way, if you guys are wondering.
What?
Harley
I didn't know
Davidson
about the
released
wine coolers.
I got the fucking.
Oh, that's what that is?
That's what that is.
I thought that was just like somebody made weird, like, I don't know,
God,
some
what
sort
I-
of weird fan
No,
art or
this
something.
is a
way
real
back in the day.
fucking
What I wouldn't do to
Dude, that's
try
so
that.
ridiculous.
produced by Scooter Juice Inc. in fucking
Dude,
Show
Scooter
the-
Juice.
Park Victoria.
Show the
Scooter
rectangle.
Juice. It's
Oh,
a good
yeah.
band name.
We got. Look at this, internet. Yeah, Harley released in like 75, I think. You can still buy bottles of it on eBay. I mean, don't drink it.
Yeah, it's no Bartles and James.
Did I just think of an idea for content? Would it be hilarious to see
To try one?
of us drink that on the internet? Yes. Are we going to do it? Probably not.
I have medical insurance now.
I do Crystal
I'll
Pepsi.
try it. Yeah.
You'll
I'll
do
that.
Crystal Pepsi?
Yeah.
All right, we'll buy
A
some.
sip of almost anything won't hurt you.
Yeah. Fucking Matty Matheson, after when he has chicken hand, he just like
He
licks his
licks-
finger.
It's so insane.
Yeah. But he's fine.
Yeah,
So-
mostly fine. Yeah.
To take that, scientist.
Yeah. If you have enough panheads, you can outrun salmonella.
Yeah, we should.
Science.
I'll look into that. See if AMF started producing this. It was a
Salmonella?
white wine cooler.
AMF started producing
Salmonella.
salmonella.
Oh,
Dude, salmonella's on one of those
salmonella's an inside
Ducatis.
job. Well, that's what we got for you, listener. Thank you so much. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram. Don't forget to share us with your homies. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. We're going to be on YouTube. Hit all the bells so that you never miss an episode. And yeah, we'll see you on the next one.
Mm-hmm.